A motherfucker, you weak, jealous motherfuckers. If you a jealous motherfucker, you just a weak motherfucker. See, when you on top, motherfuckers just wanna bring you down. Motherfuckers don't even see. Y'all motherfuckers live off of negativity. What y'all niggas need to get through your motherfucking heads is that y'all fucking with some niggas that's on a higher motherfucking level. We don't give a fuck about what you think about us, how you feel about us, what you got to say about us. We gonna keep doing our motherfucking thing from now to the year 3000, bitches. You can't breathe, you can't sleep, you can't eat without thinking about us or without thinking about us on your mind. 2,000 years later.
John Diddy Combs has been arrested in New York City, NBC News reports, citing a person with knowledge of the investigation. He was arrested in the lobby of a hotel, according to a representative. Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, issued a statement to NBC News saying, "We are disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Mr. Combs by the U.S. Attorney's Office."
John Diddy Combs is locked up in a federal jail that has been plagued by harsh conditions and violence. The Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn has seen multiple deaths in recent years. An inmate was stabbed to death in July, and several others have died by suicide. It's these reasons, among others, that Combs' lawyers are fighting to get him out of there. They want him released on bail rather than being kept in jail while he awaits trial on sex trafficking charges. Combs is just the latest high-profile defendant to be locked up at MDC Brooklyn. Before him, there were R. Kelly, Elaine Maxwell, and crypto scammer Sam Bankman-Fried. Maxwell complained about her treatment at the facility, which included round-the-clock checks in the wake of her associate Jeffrey Epstein's jail suicide. A few years ago, a week-long power outage in the dead of winter left detainees in drab, cold conditions. Judges have also raised alarms. They've pressed the Bureau of Prisons for status updates and implored the agency to fix things. One judge even refused to send some defendants to the jail. For now, Combs is one of about 1,200 people locked up at MDC Brooklyn. He's the highest-profile detainee at a place that's been described as hell on earth.
Another New York City correction officer has been assaulted, this time at the Brooklyn House of Detention. And we do have to warn you, the photo and video we're about to show you are extremely graphic. So here we go. Sources tell Pix 11 that an inmate who has now been identified as Paris Tillery confronted that officer near a stairwell. The officer told Tillery to step back. When he didn't, that's when he pepper sprayed that inmate, but it had no effect on Tillery, who, as you can see here, began punching and slamming the officer to the ground, beating him unconscious before calmly walking away. That officer suffered a broken jaw and nose. The inmate now was being held on murder charges for a 2016 shooting in Brooklyn. This is the third time a correction officer had been attacked in less than 2 weeks. Now, the Correction Officers Union president told Pix 11 that officer is in the hospital still this morning. Also sending us a statement saying this, a message from Mayor Bill de Blasio. What are you doing to prevent these assaults besides from simply rearresting and transferring assaultive inmates from one jail to the next? What are you doing to stop these emboldened inmates who are assaulting correction officers nearly every week? We have not heard from the mayor's office on this story.
Conditions inside of the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn during a 7-day power outage that caused protest and outrage by elected officials because of the cold temperatures and lack of heat were much worse than initially reported, according to new reporting by the New York Times. The accounts, according to the Times, are based on inmates, their defense lawyers, jail staff, union officials, and lawmakers. The report indicates inmates complained of cold, brackish water that ran from the taps. A client known to swallow razor blades said he had not gotten his psychiatric drugs. In another cell, a man lay on bloody sheets. That man had an infection on his leg, according to the Times, that got worse during the blackout. Allegedly, he had been denied antibiotics and Tylenol by jail staff. He was told to wash the wound with soap and water. The warden at the jail, which houses some 1,600 inmates, Mr. Herman Quay, has also been heavily criticized as dismissive and having a lack of urgency by lawmakers, activists, and even his own staff. According to the Times, union officials say Mr. Quay failed to set up an emergency command center or give staff instructions other than to keep inmates locked up. At one point, conditions were so bad that one inmate told his family a correction officer opened his cell door, allowing him into the warmer common area. "I don't know what's going on here," the guard told him, "but this is inhumane." Now, the Justice Department has an ongoing investigation into what happened, but so far the warden hasn't been officially reprimanded and there have been no changes inside of MDC. It's almost as if that blackout never happened.
Combs has been denied bail in connection with the sexual abuse and sex trafficking charges he faces. And as Les Trent reports, the music mogul who once traveled by private jet to all those mansions is now in a jail that is notorious for its bad living conditions.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs spent his first night behind bars inside a facility that is being called Hell on Earth. The Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn is notorious for its appalling living conditions and rampant violence. How bad is it inside this federal lockup? There have been 2 murders, 4 suicides, and numerous stabbings and lockdowns in recent years. It's so out of control inside that 4 federal judges are reportedly refusing to send any more prisoners here. Donald Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, spent a harrowing year in federal custody. He says for someone used to a life of luxury like Diddy, prison life is a severe shock.
You have a desk, you have a plastic chair, you have your bed with a 1.5-inch mattress, no pillow, and you also have a locker. So you basically have 3 feet by 5 feet to move around. So you have a basic 15 square feet. It is a horrible, horrible place.
Diddy's lawyers were so eager to keep him out of jail, they offered his palatial $48 million home in Miami Beach and his private jets as bail. Today, they are even offering to restrict female visitors to his homes, except for his mother, daughters, and the mothers of his children if he is released. They told the judge the jail he was being sent to is dreadful, dirty, inhuman, and an ongoing tragedy.
How's your dad doing? How's your dad doing?
Family members appeared somber as they arrived at federal court in Manhattan today in another attempt to get out on bail. The judge cited Diddy's history of violent temper and potential intimidation of witnesses as reasons for keeping him behind bars. Diddy's former protege, singer Aubrey O'Day, is celebrating Diddy's downfall today. "I feel validated, a win for women all over the world."
Combs has pled not guilty. Those were the only words he uttered in court yesterday.
Welcome to death row.
Like we always do about this time.